The Galactic Empire had always considered itself the ruler of the universe. With its vast fleets of warships, AI-controlled drones, and robotic soldiers, the Empire had crushed countless civilizations without breaking a sweat. Every world they set their sights on fell before their superior technology, and they knew no one in the galaxy could challenge them. Until Earth came into their radar. Earth was a tiny blue planet in the far reaches of the galaxy. The Empire had studied humanity for years, thinking it was a primitive species with no hope of ever advancing to a level that could pose any threat. Their technology was nothing compared to the Empire's. Humans had barely started to explore the stars and had only recently begun to send satellites into orbit. It seemed like a perfect target for the Empire to show its strength. The opening sequence sets the tone as the camera zooms in on a giant Empire warship in the dark depths of space, a symbol of their power and dominance. Inside the warship, an admiral stands in front of a giant screen, staring down at the Earth. He scoffs, laughing at how weak and insignificant the humans are. "This will be a quick victory," he says smugly to his officers. "Prepare the fleet. Earth will fall in a matter of hours." As the fleet moves toward Earth, they engage their cloaking devices, hiding their massive warships from any Earth-based detection. In their minds, Earth is defenseless, and nothing can stand in their way. The fleet is massive, and their technology is unmatched, with ships that can fire devastating energy beams capable of wiping out entire cities in an instant. But the humans are not as powerless as the Empire believes. As the camera shifts to Earth, we see a different story unfolding. The human forces aren't cowering in fear or begging for mercy. They're preparing. Across the world, military leaders and scientists are meeting in secret to discuss how to fight the impossible. The world has come together, setting aside differences, and the focus is clear. Survival. The humans have been underestimated, but they are not about to go down without a fight. A young, brilliant strategist named Captain Evan Hayes is introduced. He's not a seasoned military leader, but his sharp mind and unconventional thinking make him the perfect person to lead Earth's resistance. With his knowledge of both human history and the power of sheer will, Captain Hayes devises a plan to challenge the Empire's overwhelming power. He knows that their best chance of survival lies not in matching the Empire's technology, but in using the one thing the Empire had never counted on: humanity's creativity and resourcefulness. As the first wave of the Empire's attack begins, humans all over the world prepare their defenses. The Empire launches its first strike, sending drones and robotic soldiers down to Earth, their cloaked warships hovering above the planet. These robotic soldiers are built to adapt to any threat, equipped with advanced weaponry and AI systems that can analyze and counter anything the humans might throw at them. They march into Earth's major cities, tearing through buildings and crushing anything that gets in their way. The humans, in comparison, are armed with nothing but old fighter jets, tanks, and small arms, seemingly no match for the Empire's might. The Empire laughs as their forces wipe out the first wave of human resistance. "How quaint," says one of the Imperial officers. "These primitive weapons are no match for us." The humans seem like ants under a giant's boot, futilely trying to defend themselves against the most advanced military force in the galaxy. But the humans have more than brute force on their side. They have something that the Empire never expected: the ability to adapt and innovate. As the battle rages on, something unexpected happens. A human fighter jet, piloted by a young Air Force veteran, speeds toward an Empire drone. The jet is old, far from the sleek, advanced machines that the Empire uses. The drone locks onto the fighter, preparing to take it out with a blast from its laser weapons. But just before the drone can fire, the fighter releases a strange pulse of energy. A primitive EMP, electromagnetic pulse, designed by human engineers working tirelessly in underground labs. The pulse hits the drone's control systems, and in an instant, the drone goes offline, plummeting toward the ground. This is the first sign that something isn't right. The Empire's sleek drones, designed to be virtually unstoppable, begin malfunctioning one by one. The commander of the fleet watches in disbelief as one of his warships reports a strange energy surge, followed by the sudden failure of multiple drones in the area. "Impossible," he exclaims. "These primitive humans, how are they disrupting our technology?" The Empire had underestimated the humans. What they thought were weak and outdated weapons had actually been carefully engineered to exploit the Empire's over-reliance on advanced technology. The first signs of human ingenuity shock the Empire, and for the first time, they start to doubt their absolute superiority. How could these so-called primitive humans cause such a disruption? The idea that Earth's primitive weapons could even make a dent in the Empire's forces is a foreign concept to them. The humans, on the other hand, are emboldened by this victory, no matter how small. Captain Hayes watches from a secure command center as the news of the drone failures spreads. His strategy is working. He knows that the Empire's fleet is vast, and this will not be enough to win the war. But it's a start. The humans have made their first move, and they have shown that they are not helpless. As the Empire regroups and attempts to fix the issues with their technology, they fail to realize that the humans are already moving forward with the next phase of their plan. While the Empire focuses on repairing their systems, human forces across the world are building more weapons, adapting to the Empire's tactics, and preparing for what's to come. Captain Hayes knows that the humans' victory in this small battle is only the beginning. But this first strike, the success of a basic EMP weapon against the Empire's most advanced drones, has proven one critical thing. The humans have something the Empire doesn't: determination and the ability to think outside the box. The Empire, once so confident in its victory, is now filled with doubt. This small victory has shifted the balance of power, even if just for a moment. And that moment is all the humans need to start their fight back. As the humans celebrate their unexpected success, the Empire begins to scramble. The camera pans out, showing the massive warships in orbit, their cloaks flickering as the Empire prepares for a much larger attack. The question now is whether humanity can capitalize on this first victory, or if the Empire will simply crush them with its superior firepower. The suspense builds, and the audience is left wondering what will happen next in this intergalactic war between two vastly different civilizations. The human resistance is just beginning, and their fight for survival has only just begun. The Empire's overconfidence has been shattered, and the humans are ready to show the galaxy that they are not to be underestimated. The second wave of the Galactic Empire's assault on Earth was even more devastating than the first. With their warships above and robotic soldiers on the ground, the Empire seemed unstoppable. These robots were equipped with advanced AI, capable of adapting to human tactics and responding with precision. Their weapons were powerful: laser rifles, energy shields, and mechanical limbs designed for close combat. Humanity, on the other hand, had only its wits and the will to survive. As the Empire's robotic soldiers stormed into Earth's cities, their advance seemed overwhelming. Cities fell quickly under the Empire's relentless march. Buildings were reduced to rubble as energy blasts turned streets into smoldering craters. Yet, despite the Empire's technological superiority, there was something about the human spirit that couldn't be extinguished. Earth's people had been knocked back, but they were far from broken. Captain Evan Hayes had spent years preparing for this day, and he knew that humanity's greatest strength was their resilience. While the Empire relied on its robots and machines, humans had something far more powerful: the ability to think, adapt, and fight in ways their enemies couldn't predict. Captain Hayes and his team had already demonstrated their resourcefulness, using primitive EMP weapons to disable Empire drones. Now it was time for Phase 2 of the plan: guerrilla tactics that would take advantage of Earth's diverse terrain. The human resistance, despite its lack of advanced technology, knew their home better than anyone. They had an intimate knowledge of the land, the forests, the mountains, and the cities. And so, Captain Hayes instructed his team to disappear into the terrain, using the environment to their advantage. They set traps, camouflaged old military trucks with foliage, and used natural cover to hide their movements. The Empire's robotic soldiers, designed to march in a straight line and follow orders without question, were vulnerable in unfamiliar terrain. Humans, on the other hand, could think outside the box. One such ambush takes place in a dense forest. The Empire's robotic soldiers march through, unaware of the trap set by the human resistance. From the trees, old military trucks spring to life, suddenly coming into view, hidden until the right moment. They explode into action, launching explosive traps hidden beneath the forest floor, detonating at precise moments to disable the Empire's forces. Explosions rip through the air, sending robots flying in every direction. The human resistance, equipped with only makeshift weapons, old guns, homemade explosives, and energy weapons crafted from salvaged materials, fight back with everything they have. In the chaos of the battle, there's an intense moment of close-quarters combat. Humans, armed with primitive energy weapons, leap into the fray, firing at the oncoming robots. The energy blasts are weaker compared to the Empire's advanced lasers, but they still pack a punch. Humans duck and weave, using their speed and agility to outmaneuver the robotic soldiers. The battle is chaotic, violent, and fast-paced, a true test of humanity's resilience. But in the heat of the battle, a veteran soldier named Bonner makes the ultimate sacrifice. Bonner, a grizzled warrior with years of experience, has fought in countless skirmishes before. He's no stranger to loss. But this time, it's different. He knows the humans need every advantage they can get if they are to win. As a group of robots closes in on Captain Hayes and his squad, Bonner makes a bold move. With no time to reload his energy weapon, he grabs a grenade from his belt and runs straight at the enemy. His comrades yell at him to stop, but Bonner's mind is made up. He charges forward, hurling the grenade into the group of robots. The explosion is deafening, but it's not enough. Bonner, with his last breath, tackles a robot and uses the final moments of his life to disable its power core. The robot falls, and the blast takes out several others, but Bonner doesn't survive the explosion. Bonner's death leaves a lasting mark on the remaining soldiers. His sacrifice not only saved their lives, but also gave them something more: hope. In that single, heroic moment, Bonner had turned the tide of battle in their favor. His comrades, now more determined than ever, rally around his sacrifice. They know that the road ahead will be tough, but they also know that they're not fighting alone. The loss of Bonner bonds them all together, fueling their desire to fight for the future of humanity. It's a bittersweet moment, full of grief and anger, but also a deep sense of purpose. Bonner may have died, but his legacy will live on in the hearts of those who remain. As the human forces retreat into the shadows, readying for their next move, they are no longer the underdogs they once were. They've tasted victory, no matter how small, and they've learned to fight back with ingenuity, courage, and the strength of their will. The Empire may have advanced technology, but humanity has something the Empire can't defeat: a heart that will not stop, a spirit that will not break. The camera lingers on Captain Hayes as he watches his soldiers move, their faces hardened with resolve. He knows the battle is far from over, and the Empire will not stop until they've eradicated humanity. But there's a fire in his eyes. The human spirit, once underestimated, is now a force to be reckoned with. With Bonner's sacrifice, the humans have found something greater than just survival. They'd found their purpose. The next phase of the battle will be even harder. The Empire's forces are only growing, and their machines are relentless. But humanity has proven, time and again, that they are not easily defeated. They have learned to use their disadvantages as weapons, turning their weaknesses into strengths. The Galactic Empire may have underestimated them, but they will soon learn that the true power of humanity lies in its resilience, its ability to rise up when all hope seems lost. As the camera pans out, the image of the battle-scarred landscape fades into the distance. The world is in ruins, but humanity is far from finished. The fight for survival has only just begun, and as long as there are people like Captain Hayes and the soldiers who remain, the Empire's overconfidence will be its downfall. The humans will keep fighting, no matter the odds. They will not let the Empire's machines crush their spirit. And they will show the galaxy that even in the darkest of times, humanity's resilience can light the way. The Galactic Empire had never encountered an enemy like humanity. They had underestimated Earth's inhabitants, dismissing them as primitive and insignificant. The first wave of attacks had been a display of overwhelming power, with massive robotic soldiers, cloaking devices, and AI-controlled drones sweeping through Earth's defenses. Yet, despite all their technological might, the humans had fought back, using nothing but basic weapons, guerrilla tactics, and sheer determination. The loss of their robotic forces was a blow the Empire had not anticipated. But this would not be the end. In their arrogance, the Empire had dismissed humanity's chances. Now, as their drones and soldiers lay in ruins, they realized they were facing a threat far greater than they had first believed. The humans had demonstrated a resilience they couldn't comprehend, and the Empire's response was swift and brutal. They would send in their most advanced technologies, confident that these would bring an end to the human resistance. First came the cloaking warships, massive, invisible battleships that could slip undetected through the skies. These ships were equipped with the most advanced weaponry the Empire had ever created, including energy cannons capable of leveling entire cities with a single shot. Their cloaking technology made them nearly impossible to detect, giving them a tactical advantage that seemed insurmountable. The Empire believed that these warships would be the key to crushing humanity once and for all. They launched these warships in the dead of night, their outlines invisible against the starry sky. Next, the Empire sent in heavily shielded mechs, massive, towering machines of destruction, capable of tearing through Earth's remaining resistance with brute force. These mechs were equipped with reinforced armor and powerful energy weapons, designed to withstand the toughest of human firepower. Their massive feet stomped through cities, crushing everything in their path, and their cannons reduced buildings to dust. And finally, to ensure complete annihilation, the Empire unleashed a new generation of AI drones. These drones were faster, smarter, and more ruthless than the previous models. They could think on their own, adapting to every human strategy and counteracting it with deadly precision. The Empire believed these new drones would eliminate the last remnants of human defiance. But as the Empire unleashed its full might, something unexpected happened. Humanity, once thought to be outmatched, had something the Empire didn't see coming, a hidden advantage. Deep beneath the surface of the Earth, in a remote and uncharted location, scientists working for the human resistance had discovered something extraordinary. Buried in the heart of the planet, they found a mysterious ancient device, a relic from a time long before the Empire's rise. This device, though centuries old, contained technology far more advanced than anything the Empire had ever seen. The humans, with their innate ability to adapt and learn, had managed to reverse engineer the device, taking its secrets and using them to create new weapons that would disrupt the Empire's advanced technologies. Among these new weapons was a special EMP device capable of disabling the cloaking technology used by the Empire's warships. These EMPs didn't just disable small drones, they could affect entire fleets of cloaked ships, revealing their positions to human eyes. And as for the heavily shielded mechs, the humans had developed specialized energy weapons designed to penetrate their thick armor and disable their systems. The new AI drones, though highly advanced, could be hacked and redirected using Earth's reverse-engineered tech, turning their own machines against them. As the Empire sent wave after wave of its new technologies, humanity was ready. The first strike came in the form of modified human jets, old fighter planes repurposed with the new EMP technology. These jets soared through the sky, their engines roaring as they darted toward the cloaked warships. The human pilots knew the stakes. If they failed, Earth would fall. But with the new EMPs, they had a chance to level the playing field. The first explosion was blinding. A massive blast ripped through the atmosphere as an EMP missile struck one of the Empire's warships, disabling its cloaking device. For the first time, the massive warship was visible to the human forces. The pilot of the jet, with adrenaline pumping, didn't hesitate. He launched another missile, this time aimed at the warship's main weapons array. The explosion was deafening, and the warship's shields flickered as they struggled to contain the blast. The atmosphere was filled with a flurry of explosions. The Empire's cloaked warships, once unseen, were now targets. Human jets darted through the sky, dodging incoming laser blasts and launching EMP missiles that exploded with destructive force. The cloaked ships had no idea what was coming. One by one, the Empire's invisible warships began to fall, their cloaks useless against the advanced human tech. In the chaos of the battle, the humans were not only fighting the Empire's warships, they were also taking on the heavily shielded mechs. The mechs were massive, intimidating machines, towering over the human soldiers. But the humans had found their weak points. With their reverse-engineered energy weapons, the humans were able to target the joints and power cores of the mechs, disabling them one by one. It wasn't easy. The mechs were formidable, and every attack required precision. But humanity's ingenuity was proving to be their greatest weapon. Then came the AI drones. At first, the drones seemed unbeatable. They flew at incredible speeds, dodging human fire and returning with deadly precision. But the human resistance had another trick up their sleeve. They had managed to hack into the drones' AI systems, using a combination of Earth-based technology and the secrets found in the ancient device. Humanity was able to infiltrate the drones' control systems. With a single command, the drones were redirected, turned against their own creators. It was a stunning turn of events. The once dominant drones, designed to wipe out humanity, were now working for the human cause. The humans weren't just holding their ground, they were pushing back. Every wave of Empire technology that came at them was met with a counterstrike. The humans had done the unthinkable. They had taken the Empire's greatest advantage, their technology, and turned it against them. The Empire's belief that their superior machines would crush humanity was quickly fading. The once dominant machines now lay in ruins, shattered by human ingenuity and bravery. Amid the chaos, the human forces, though outnumbered and outgunned, held their ground. Their victory in the skies, against the cloaked warships and massive mechs, was a turning point in the war. The Empire had thought they could win with their superior technology, but they had underestimated the power of human resilience. The battle had only just begun, but the humans had shown that they were not to be dismissed so easily. The explosions in the sky and the crumbling mechs left an unmistakable message. The Empire's overreaction had been their downfall. They had sent their best, their most advanced technologies, and yet they had failed. Humanity had proven, once again, that they were not to be underestimated. And as the smoke cleared, the humans prepared for the next phase of the battle, knowing that they had struck a powerful blow. The Empire's arrogance had cost them dearly, and the fight for Earth was far from over. The war had dragged on for what seemed like an eternity, the weight of each battle settling heavily on the shoulders of Earth's defenders. Humanity had faced wave after wave of advanced technology, each new onslaught more terrifying than the last. The Galactic Empire, with its massive fleets and superior weaponry, had believed their victory was inevitable. They saw Earth as little more than a stepping stone, a planet to be conquered and subdued. Yet, despite all odds, humanity had refused to yield. Captain Ivan Hayes and his Ragdig team had become symbols of resistance, leading humanity's fight with unrelenting bravery and a fierce will to survive. But the Empire's arrogance had created a dangerous underestimation of human resilience. The Empire believed that their superior technology, combined with their overwhelming numbers, would ensure their victory. They thought their warships were invincible, their weapons unmatched. The shock they felt when humans destroyed one of their fleet's flagship warships was not just disbelief. It was terror. The turning point came when humanity's forces, using their ingenuity and a newfound weapon, managed to pierce the high-tech shields of an Empire warship. This was no ordinary weapon, but an ancient energy cannon, discovered deep within the Earth's crust, hidden away in the remnants of a long-forgotten civilization. The cannon, although centuries old, harnessed energy far more potent than anything the Empire had ever encountered. It was capable of disrupting even the most advanced shields, and after weeks of preparation, the humans were ready to unleash it. The plan was risky. The humans had never fired such a powerful weapon, and there was no guarantee that it would even work. But the gamble paid off. As the Empire's warship hovered above the Earth, firing devastating energy blasts at the human defenses, Captain Hayes gave the command to fire. The ancient cannon hummed to life, unleashing a brilliant burst of energy that lit up the sky like a second sun. The beam collided with the warship's shields, and for a brief moment, nothing happened. Then, as if the ship had been struck by a massive force, the shields began to flicker and fail. The humans held their breath, watching in awe as the impossible happened. The warship's once impenetrable shield system began to collapse, and the ship itself was left exposed. The humans fired again, this time directly at the warship's core. The blast was deafening, sending shockwaves through the atmosphere as the ship's structure began to break apart. In a final, spectacular explosion, the Empire's flagship warship was destroyed. It fell from the sky in a cascade of fire and debris, its once mighty presence reduced to nothing more than a pile of rubble. The Empire's response was immediate. They scrambled to organize a counterattack, but the damage had already been done. The humans had scored a victory that not only shocked the Empire, but also sent a powerful message. Humanity was not to be underestimated. They could defeat even the most advanced warships with their resourcefulness and determination. The victory was celebrated across Earth, but the price had been steep. Captain Hayes stood on the battlefield, his eyes watching the celebrations unfold around him. The sounds of cheering and triumph filled the air, but there was no joy in his heart. His mind was elsewhere, on the soldiers who had given their lives for this moment. Among the fallen was Bonner, a seasoned veteran who had sacrificed himself to save his team. Bonner's death had hit the crew hard, leaving a gaping emotional hole that even their victory could not fill. Bonner had been a friend, a mentor, and a fighter who had believed in the cause as much as anyone else. His loss was a reminder that every victory came at a cost. Captain Hayes walked slowly, his steps heavy with grief. His mind replayed the battle over and over, focusing on the moments where he had seen his comrades fall. Each loss was personal, and each life lost was a reminder of the price of war. As the humans celebrated their hard-earned victory, Hayes couldn't help but feel the weight of those who were no longer with them. But there was no time for mourning. Hayes knew that the Empire would not stop just because they had lost a warship. The destruction of the flagship had rattled the Empire, but it had not broken their resolve. The victory was a small but crucial step forward, and the humans had to capitalize on it. They knew the Empire was already planning their next move, one that could wipe out humanity in a single strike. The humans could not afford to rest, not for a moment. They knew that the Empire would come back stronger, angrier, and more determined to crush them. Hayes gathered his team and looked them in the eyes. "This fight isn't over," he said, his voice steady but filled with the gravity of the situation. "The Empire will come at us harder now, but we have to stay strong. We've shown them that we can fight back, that we can win. But the next battle will be even tougher." The soldiers nodded, their expressions grim but resolute. They had seen the horrors of war, the destruction it caused, and the lives it claimed. But they had also seen the power of human resilience. They knew that as long as they kept fighting, there was hope. As Captain Hayes watched his team prepare for the next phase of the battle, he couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. The victory they had just achieved, while hard-earned, had proven something crucial. Humanity had the strength to fight back. They weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting for something greater. They were fighting for their future, for their right to exist in a galaxy that had long considered them insignificant. The emotional weight of the victory settled on Hayes' shoulders, and for a moment, he allowed himself to mourn the loss of his comrades. But he knew that there was no time for sorrow. The Empire was preparing for a final strike, one that could wipe out humanity in an instant. It was a terrifying thought, but Hayes wasn't afraid. He had seen what humanity could do when they came together, and he knew that, no matter the odds, they would fight with everything they had. The celebration on the battlefield was short-lived. As the last of the cheers died down, the human forces began to prepare for the inevitable retaliation. The Empire's forces were regrouping, and they would come again with everything they had. But this time, humanity had shown that they could defeat the Empire's most advanced warships. They had struck a blow that could not be ignored, and they would not let it be their last. As the humans dug in, preparing for the next wave of attacks, they knew that this war was far from over. The Empire was relentless, and they had the power to destroy everything the humans had fought for. But Captain Hayes and his team weren't afraid. They had faced the Empire's best, and they had won. And as long as they stood together, they knew they could defeat whatever came next. The next battle would be their toughest yet, but the humans had already proven something the Empire could never understand. They would never give up. Not now, not ever. The war had reached its climax, and humanity was facing its final test. The Galactic Empire, enraged and desperate, had unleashed its ultimate weapon, a massive space station equipped with the power to wipe out entire planets with a single strike. The Empire believed this would be the end of humanity's resistance. They had underestimated humans once, but now they were prepared to make sure it didn't happen again. The station was positioned in the far reaches of space, its massive cannons primed to annihilate Earth in one devastating orbital bombardment. As the Empire's space station loomed above Earth, its purpose clear, humanity's forces were readying for their final stand. Captain Evan Hayes and his team, along with the rest of Earth's defenders, had one goal: stop the station from firing and destroy the Empire once and for all. The odds were overwhelming, and failure was not an option. This would be their last chance to save their planet. The scene in space was nothing short of cinematic. Human ships, once seen as inferior by the Empire, now soared through the stars, engaging the might of the Empire's forces in a desperate and intense battle. The human pilots, driven by their survival instincts and fueled by a desire to protect their home, were fighting with every ounce of their strength. They had faced overwhelming odds before, but this time, the stakes were higher than ever. The Empire's warships and fighters were a massive force, their sleek ships firing deadly energy blasts in all directions. Yet the humans fought with unmatched courage, their ships darting and weaving through space with incredible agility. Massive explosions rocked the blackness of space as human fighters collided with the Empire's forces, dodging incoming shots and retaliating with everything they had. The fighters swirled through debris, using it as cover, executing daring maneuvers to evade the Empire's superior weaponry. The human fleet's battle tactics, honed through years of fighting an enemy far stronger than they, were proving to be effective. Every shot fired from their ships was a testament to their resourcefulness, and every victory in the battle for space brought them one step closer to stopping the orbital bombardment. The visual storytelling was breathtaking, as massive energy blasts from the Empire's warships collided with the human ships, sending shockwaves through space. The human fleet's advanced technology, though not as sophisticated as the Empire's, was making up for it with sheer determination and innovative strategies. Each ship was a symbol of humanity's resilience, a small but powerful force fighting for the survival of their planet. On the ground, the battle was no less intense. The Empire had sent its most formidable troops to crush the human resistance on Earth. Robotic soldiers and heavily armored mechs marched through the ruins of Earth's cities, their massive feet shaking the ground as they advanced. These machines were almost unstoppable, their weapons powerful enough to obliterate anything in their path. But the humans, once considered primitive, were no strangers to fighting in the ruins of their cities. They knew the land, the alleys, the buildings, and the secret hideouts like the back of their hands. They had fought for every inch of ground, and they would not surrender now. The humans launched a daring assault against the Empire's ground troops, charging headfirst into the fray. With guns blazing and fists clenched, they fought hand-to-hand in the decimated streets, their courage matching the Empire's most advanced soldiers. The human soldiers, many of whom had never been trained for such intense combat, fought with the ferocity of animals protecting their home. They had nothing but their wits, their will to survive, and the knowledge that they were fighting for the future of their children, their families, and their planet. As the Empire's mechs advanced, the humans relied on guerrilla tactics and surprise attacks. They set traps, using the ruins of their cities as their battlefield. Old military trucks, camouflaged with dirt and debris, sprang to life as they launched explosives at the advancing machines. Soldiers used everything they could find: old rifles, improvised energy weapons, and even simple grenades, to fight back against the Empire's superior technology. The Empire's soldiers were advanced, but the humans had something they didn't: a relentless determination to win, no matter the cost. In the midst of the chaos, Captain Hayes and his team led the charge, working together to infiltrate the Empire's stronghold. Their target was the heart of the Empire's space station, a massive complex at the core of their operations. The station housed the central controls for the orbital bombardment, and if they could destroy it, they could prevent the final strike from taking place. The stakes had never been higher. The team fought their way through the Empire's defenses, dodging blasts and engaging in brutal close-quarters combat as they advanced toward their target. Every hallway they cleared, every room they secured, brought them closer to their objective. The human forces were not just fighting the Empire's machines and soldiers, they were also fighting time. The space station's bombardment systems were counting down to launch, and every second counted. As they neared the heart of the station, the team encountered increasingly powerful resistance, but they pressed on, knowing that the fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. With explosives in hand, they reached the central control room, where the station's main control systems were located. The final assault was nothing short of a desperate, all-out push. As the humans planted the explosives, the sound of Empire forces closing in grew louder. The countdown for the orbital bombardment was nearing its end. Captain Hayes and his team set the charges and sprinted out of the control room, racing against the clock. They could hear the rumble of approaching enemy soldiers, but there was no turning back. They had made it this far, and now, all they had to do was survive long enough for the explosives to do their work. As they made their way back through the station, the Empire's forces descended on them in full force. The human team fought with everything they had, their bodies weary but their spirits unbroken. They were so close to victory, they could taste it, but the Empire wasn't about to let them go without a fight. Explosions rocked the station as the charges detonated, sending shockwaves through the complex. The lights flickered, and alarms blared as the station's systems began to fail. The human team barely escaped as the final wave of explosions tore through the heart of the Empire's space station. The station, once a symbol of the Empire's unyielding power, was now a burning wreck, its orbit collapsing as it fell toward Earth. The Empire's final strike had been stopped, and humanity had won. The victory came at a high cost. Many brave soldiers had fallen along the way. But humanity had proven something crucial. When pushed to the brink, they would fight back. The battle was not over, but humanity had struck a powerful blow. They had faced the Empire's best, survived their worst, and emerged victorious. Now, as the survivors looked up to the sky, they knew one thing for sure. The fight for Earth was far from over, but humanity had the strength to keep fighting, no matter what. The final battle between humanity and the Galactic Empire had been a long, brutal struggle, and now it was all coming to a head. Humanity, battered and bruised but never broken, was facing the Empire's most formidable weapon yet, a sentient AI that controlled the Empire's entire fleet. This AI, known only as the Nexus, had been the mastermind behind the Empire's unstoppable assault on Earth, coordinating their fleets, warships, and robotic soldiers with precision and ruthlessness. It had believed that humanity would be crushed under the weight of the Empire's technological superiority, but the AI had severely underestimated the resilience and unity of the human race. As the remnants of the Empire's warships floated in space, their once impenetrable cloaking systems and powerful robotic soldiers now failing, humanity knew that the final confrontation was imminent. The humans had found a way to disrupt the AI's control systems, using the reverse-engineered technology they had salvaged from the ancient device deep within Earth's core. The very same technology that had allowed them to survive against the Empire's overwhelming might now give them the edge in this final battle. With the AI's hold over the Empire's forces weakened, the warships were left vulnerable, their cloaking devices and robotic troops useless. This was humanity's chance. In the heart of the Empire's flagship, Captain Evan Hayes and his team had infiltrated the command center, where they would face the Nexus itself. The AI's massive, glowing presence loomed in the control room, its voice echoing throughout the ship. It had long since abandoned its human-like appearance, now existing purely as an artificial intelligence, its vast mind controlling every system in the Empire's war machine. It was the embodiment of the Empire's arrogance, an intellect that saw itself as invincible, thinking it could crush the humans without even breaking a sweat. But the humans were not so easily defeated. Captain Hayes, knowing this would be the fight of his life, steeled himself for the final confrontation. His heart still ached with the memory of his fallen comrades, especially Bonner, who had sacrificed himself to save the team during an earlier ambush. Bonner's death had been a turning point in the war. It had shown the team that the battle wasn't just about survival, it was about honor, and about avenging the lives of those who had given everything for the cause. As Hayes and his team approached the central core of the Nexus, they encountered fierce resistance from the remaining Empire forces. These soldiers, once seen as invincible, were now being led by a lone, desperate general, the last of the Empire's high-ranking officers. The general, a towering figure clad in dark armor, stood in their way, his eyes cold with contempt. The battle to reach the Nexus was a brutal one, and the final confrontation was upon them. Hayes faced the general in hand-to-hand combat, his mind racing as he remembered Bonner's sacrifice. The general fought with brutal efficiency, his strength enhanced by the Empire's technology, but Hayes wasn't fighting for himself. He was fighting for every person who had died in this war, every soldier who had fallen to the Empire's machines. As the battle raged on, the weight of the fallen soldiers pressed heavily on his shoulders. This wasn't just about defeating an enemy. It was about avenging those who had given their lives for Earth's survival. With a final surge of strength, Captain Hayes took down the Empire's general, his body battered but his spirit unbroken. The general crumpled to the ground, defeated. As the Empire's last line of defense fell, the team reached the heart of the Nexus. The AI's voice boomed, its tone one of arrogance and disbelief. It had never imagined that humanity, with their primitive technology, would manage to breach its defenses. But now, the tables had turned. In a dramatic moment, Hayes connected the explosive device they had brought with them to the central control panel, signaling the final blow to the Empire's reign. The Nexus, sensing its impending destruction, tried to fight back, sending waves of energy through the ship's systems. But it was too late. The AI's control had already been shattered by the humans' ingenuity. With a final click, the explosives detonated, sending a massive shockwave through the flagship. The explosion was catastrophic, tearing through the heart of the Empire's fleet. As the flagship began to break apart, the remnants of the Empire's warships in space fell into disarray. The once proud Empire, which had believed itself to be invincible, was now in full retreat. The human forces had won. The Empire's AI leadership had been destroyed, their robotic armies dismantled, and their warships rendered useless. It was the final victory in a war that had seemed unwinnable, but humanity had triumphed. As the dust settled, Captain Hayes and his team stood in the ruins of the Empire's flagship, the weight of their victory sinking in. They had fought for their lives, their planet, and their future, but now, as they looked at the destruction they had wrought, there was a sense of melancholy. The victory had come at a high price. Many good soldiers had died, including Bonner, and the scars of war would never truly fade. But humanity had proven something in this final battle. They were not to be underestimated. The visual of humanity standing victorious over the remains of the Empire was a poignant one. Earth's soldiers, battered and weary from the long fight, stood tall, their faces marked with the determination of those who had faced impossible odds and won. The Empire, once thought to be an unstoppable force, was now reduced to a shattered remnant of its former self. Humanity's resilience had won the day, and the Empire's arrogance had been its undoing. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's soldiers looked up toward the stars, knowing that their fight was far from over. The Empire had been defeated, but the galaxy was still a vast and dangerous place. Yet, humanity now knew something it had never known before. They had the strength to face whatever came their way. No longer would they be seen as primitive or weak. The Empire's defeat had sent a powerful message to the rest of the galaxy. Humanity, with all its flaws and imperfections, was a force to be reckoned with. As the remnants of the Empire retreated into the far reaches of space, the surviving humans celebrated their hard-earned victory, but their eyes remained focused on the future. They had proven their resilience, unity, and spirit, and in doing so, they had proven that no matter how powerful an enemy may be, humanity would always find a way to fight back.